I was diagnosed with high blood pressure last year, and part of the reason that I felt it on my heart to kind of push this message out there is because probably between the ages of 18 and 27, I don't even know if I went to a doctor in between that time. And not me just ignoring like any ailments that I have, but I'm just generally a pretty healthy person. I haven't had anything that made me feel like, oh well, maybe I need to go see somebody. But I do have a wife, and she wasn't even finna play that. So last year, she just kept being on my head about it. She was like, go get you a PCP, go get you a PCP, go get an appointment or whatever. So I'm like, cool, I'm gonna go there. And I'm feeling good going there. I'm like, man, I'm in great shape right now. I was like, I want to go to the doctor just so they can tell me like how perfect my numbers and everything are. Get to the doctor or whatever. I'm in the room giving health history and stuff. They got the blood pressure cuff on me or whatever. So I'm just chopping it up. I'm thinking she take my read. I ain't even paying no attention to it. She was like, let me get a bigger cuff. So they take that one out, put another one on.
You feeling yourself with the bigger cuff, these muscles.
I was like, okay. I said, okay, these biceps too big. That's why your machine off. She was like, let me put this one on. She read it. I heard the machine beep. She read it. I couldn't see it. She was like, can you uncross your legs? I'm trying to look around the corner. I'm like, what you looking at? They got you taking the third reading. She was like, yeah. She was like, your pressure like 155/80 right now. I was like, wow. I was like, that's way over normal.
Great morning, great evening, great afternoon. I'm your host, Devontae Ward, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Demetrius Pearson.
And this is The Counterattack. All right, man, so it's been about a month since we did our last recording. Things have been moving and shaking. How you been feeling?
Man, listen, I'm feeling good, man. Happy Black History Month, by the way.
Hey, come on now, kings, queens,
Happy
let's...
Black History Month. What they said, last month I was black. This month I'm blackity black. So, we gotta lay it out for them. But hey, so just starting it off on a lighter note, I was scrolling through TikTok the other day, just aimlessly, and I heard this one girl. She said something that was just kind of controversial. And normally I hear people say something and it don't even shock me as anything crazy. She said that if LeBron had came before Jordan, then Jordan's legacy wouldn't be anything of what it is. How you feel about that?
Well, personally, I always have a hard time comparing great to great. For real, because, flowers to both of them. Let's give flowers to both of them, to all the greats, Bill, to Kobe, to Mike, to LeBron, to like the new up and coming greats like Embiid and, Jokic, like the return of a few, not the traditional big man, but these some big men out here getting it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to if LeBron came before Mike, the one thing as a unit, as a whole, we value winning.
Yeah, of course.
We value winning. So, we could talk about the stats all day. I think the crux for the majority of us, even me, even though I don't like to do it, I do say, hey, did you get that dub?
Yeah, that's right.
Did you win? So I'd still give it to Mike on like the number of rings. It's like, I'm not about to say Mahomes is better than Brady yet,
But would he have gotten that many rings if more specifically, if LeBron played in his era and he played in LeBron's era, you think it'll look any different championship wise?
I'd say Mike would have more rings.
You think he'll have more?
He wouldn't be getting beat up by all them the bad boys and all that.
That's a fair point.
He wouldn't get beat up, and with that mentality, because LeBron's kind of mimics that mentality a little bit. It's not as much, but we've all watched the what's the documentary called for Mike and them?
On The Last Dance?
The Last Dance. So we like, LeBron probably ain't out here being delusional like Mike was in order to, obtain that victory, like that absolute win like that. So, and this is all hypotheticals,
of course.
In my opinion, I'd say that LeBron back then would have to go through a lot more of that and I believe, Mike would maybe have just as many rings if he played like LeBron did right now. And I say that LeBron would probably have he would have rings back then.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be, 6, 7, but I know he'd have some rings.
So I think LeBron probably would have prospered in that era if he was like the same caliber of player, just because, when Jordan came along, part of his legacy was like, man, this is unheard of. Like, this man flying through the air. None of his peers are really doing that. Now you talk about today's NBA, everybody could dunk on a 12-foot rim if you put it out there. Everybody could shoot from a 4-point line, you know, if that existed. The most positions are not true positions anymore. Your big man not just staying down in the paint. So I think all those things make a difference. And I'm just thinking about Jordan, you know, playing in this era where, you know, people could jump with you now. You know what I'm saying? Like, just athletic ability-wise and just not being able to outshine every person on the floor. But I also understand what you're saying, like, mentality-wise. So I'm reading a book right now. It's called Relentless by Tim Grover. And he's, like, a famous, like, athletic trainer. He trained people like Kobe, Dwayne Wade, Michael Jordan. And he talks about what a closer is versus a cleaner. I think he would, well, I know for a fact he would describe people like Jordan, Kobe, or Dwayne Wade as a cleaner. That's that person that Mamba mentality, like really killer mindset. They don't have to think, they just do. But, you know, he might describe LeBron as a closer. You know, this person, they're more of like a facilitator. So they may be the person that actually, you know, get the cleaner what they need to be able to win the game. So I do understand mentality-wise. So, you know, Jordan did have that dog in him. And, you know, he was the one that was telling himself those stories in his head. So he might have a chance in this era. But like I said, my main stake was like athletic ability-wise. Like, you wouldn't have been a unicorn in this era. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So
yeah, and just to be devil's advocate, I would say look at Jokic.
Okay.
It's basketball is it is athleticism is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you can dunk don't mean that you about to be getting 20 triple-double.
Now, that's fake.
It's a lot of skill when it comes to it. So
that's true.
You know,
but I mean that goes back to the fact, because how tall is Jokic? 6'11", almost 7 feet.
Yes.
Them people wasn't shooting like that back in the day.
No,
you know what I'm saying? So I think that makes a difference too. Like, for somebody that big to be stretching the floor, if I'm a big man, I don't feel safe coming outside the paint. But if Jokic is my man, I gotta go out there. I gotta go out there. Now y'all done spread the floor too much for me. So
the skill at that point, the skill overtakes the athleticism by allowing you to have the space, because, you know, basketball and most sports, you know, it's about space. You know, your ability to move within the space that you allotted. And obviously on the basketball court, the more space you have in a one-on-one situation, the more likely it is that the offensive player, you know, can have a better likelihood of scoring in that situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's real. Okay, like I said, I just want to pick your mind. We'll get some more opinions about that topic later, because I find that.
Where's Obi at when we need him? You know, hey, he go crazy
he
about
gonna
this.
break it down, because a lot of times I love having a Brian Jordan conversation with just a diverse group of people, because either some people, they'll just base it off of facts, they'll base it off numbers, you know what I'm saying, championship, what actually happened. But half the people I have it with, like in my barbershop, we got one barber in there. The only reason he loves Jordan is just because he grew up in that era and he don't want to give credit to nobody else. So it's kind of harder to have conversations with people like that. But
yeah,
you know, I love to hear the opinions on that. But yeah, man, moving forward, once again, happy Black History Month. I tried to wear something a little more colorful today.
Yeah, I ain't have my African print shirt. You know it's in the cleaner, so
throw a little gold on. So on top of it being Black History Month, February is also American Heart Month. So the American Heart Association, they try to put an emphasis and bring attention to the fact that heart disease is the #1 killer in America right now. And, you know, being that it's Black History Month and being that, you know, we drive in the lane of wellness, I want to talk about heart disease in terms of Black people, because ultimately I do want better for our people. And we're at like a higher disposition for these diseases. Our health disparity numbers are just astronomical compared to, you know, our white counterparts or like other ethnicities. So I think we need to do a better job at taking care of ourselves, because there are a few factors that we may or may not be able to help, because you already come here with 2 strikes on your back. But we could talk about the things that are controllable, like, you know, what kind of choices are you making with your fitness, or what kind of choices are you making with your eating or your sleeping. So what's your take on that? Because, you know, me and you, we've talked about some health problems that we've dealt with.
Yes. So it's funny you say sleep, because, you know, I'll be on your head about sleep in the past.
I'll try. That was my New Year's resolution.
But yeah, so, you know, I personally have been diagnosed with high blood pressure, and you know, even as of late, like I ran a half marathon on the February the 3rd.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Yeah. And since then, even this past week, I actually ran out of my medication for about 3 days. But my blood pressure was way more elevated than normal. And it even got to the point where and I'm on the lowest milligrams of it. Like I'm on 10 milligrams of lisinopril, and my blood pressure readings are normally 120 over like 75. Like I'm in a good range. Pulse is between 47 to 60. You know, good cardiovascular. At least, you know, I eat decently. You know, I meal prep every day. Like you seen how it was when I was going to school. Like spinach, tomatoes, almost every day. Like the whole shebang, a gallon of water. Shout out to you for going through 75 hard. That done stuck with me. Yeah. So not even yesterday, 2 days ago, my blood pressure was 160 over 100 at one point. Ooh. 160, and it shocked me because I am making these, you know, changes and stuff like that. And you know, and I'm not gonna say it's the predisposition all the way, but what's important is to understand all of the factors that are going into your current health situation, and stress and change also influence that. Sleep, diet, like you were saying, physical activity, mental health, like these things all intertwine and kind of like, you know, give you the state of being, which is the state of your body and your current health circumstances and everything. So, what do you have anything, you know, personally about that?
Yeah, and same thing as you. So, I talked about a couple episodes ago when we had Obi as a guest that I was diagnosed with high blood pressure last year, and part of the reason that, you know, I felt it on my heart to kind of push his message out there is because probably between the ages of 18 and 27, I don't even know if I went to a doctor in between that time. And, you know, not me just ignoring like any ailments that I have, but I'm just generally a pretty healthy person. I haven't had anything that made me feel like, oh, well, maybe I need to go see somebody. But I do have a wife, and she wasn't even finna play that. So last year, she just kept being on my head about it. She was like, go get you a PCP, go get you a PCP, go get an appointment or whatever. So I'm like, cool, I'm gonna go there. And, you know, I'm feeling good going there. I'm like, man, I'm in great shape right now. I was like, I want to go to the doctor just so they can tell me like how perfect my numbers and everything are. Get to the doctor or whatever. I'm in the room giving health history and stuff. You know, they got the blood pressure cuff on me or whatever. So I'm just chopping it up. I'm thinking, she take my read. I ain't even paying no attention to it. She was like, let me get a bigger cuff. So they take that one out, put another one on.
You feeling yourself with the bigger cuff, these muscles.
I was like, okay. I said, okay, these biceps too big. That's why your machine off. She was like, let me put this one on. She read it. I heard the machine beep. She read it. I couldn't see it. She was like, can you uncross your legs? I'm trying to look around the corner. I'm like, what you looking at? They got you taking the third reading. She was like, yeah. She was like, your pressure like 155 over 80 right now. I was like, wow. I was like, that's way over normal. She was like, do you have a family history of high blood pressure? I didn't know it at the moment, but I did. Once they diagnosed me and actually started putting me on stuff, I reached out to my mom, and she was like, yeah, I've been dealing with it since like my 20s. My uncle, he's been dealing with it since about his 30s. So I found out that a lot of it was genetics. And at that point in time, same thing as you, exercising daily, you know, I'm eating pretty sensibly, not necessarily paying attention to salt intake just because, you know, that's not something that's on the forefront of my mind because I didn't even know about the high blood pressure at the moment. But that's just one of those factors that I was talking about earlier. So maybe you did come here already with your first strike being that, you know, it's something genetic. And, you know, genetically as Black people, you know, they found that we're a little more sensitive to salt as it is. So you already got that working against you. And then you could even talk about like community or like what type of accesses you have. So for me, I come from a super small town in like rural Alabama, and it's what you would consider a food desert. So the choices that you have for food out there, you know, McDonald's over there, Burger King over here, KFC over there, no healthy choices. Of course, you know, you have grocery stores or whatever, but, you know, then you start talking about what type of access do you have to income? You know, are you dealing with poverty? So it's some things that you may or may not be able to control, but what's something that you can control every day? You can control, you know, how much movement are you getting? How much water are you drinking? Even if you don't have access to great choices for food, some choices are definitely better than others and to send you in the right direction. So I say all that to say, even if you come here and you don't do nothing, you may already be at a predisposition to have like some type of chronic disease. You doing these adverse behaviors ain't doing nothing but taking you backwards. So even at my point right now, if I just stop doing the things that I'm doing, like my blood pressure could shoot up. As hard as I work every day to keep it at a baseline, like right now, if we took my blood pressure, I'm probably at 140 over 80. And that's like my body's like happy medium. I haven't seen it any lower than that. They keep boosting my medicine. It just ain't getting no better. So I think, just making the effort to control the things that you can control. I think that's important with, talking about high blood pressure, which is one of the risk factors for coronary artery disease or heart disease, which is what we were just talking about.
Man, and what you said was so clear, right? And I'm using this to segue into, the main thing that we're going to be talking about today, which is clarity. Mm-hmm. And clarity as it, relates around your health and fitness. And I'm just going to read the definition of what the visual definition of clarity. The sharpness and clearness of an image or view where details are easily perceptible. And everything you just said was in alignment with that, because it was easily perceptible of what the issues were. The image was clear. You know where your numbers are. You know what the conditions were. And you had it was sharp. It was concise. So that's a powerful thing to have, especially when it comes to blood pressure and your health.
Right.
And like you said, like the food, like all these factors can work against you, mm-hmm. but being predisposed doesn't mean you have to be exposed.
I like that.
You don't have to. So, and it can start with, like, we like to, I guess a motto is like, we imperfect action. Mm-hmm. Like the imperfect action. Like I always tell my baby girl Sanaya that practice makes progress. Mm-hmm. And man, when I tell you, like, the health journey for me, like, it was funny, like in our group chat the other day when you had sent the message out and talking about, like, this man character development been crazy.
Yeah. He the villain. He the villain now. His origin story crazy. Yeah, he the villain.
But it's really been applying, like, more to information, and like between me, you, and Obi, like, we just had like a vast, like, circle of, like, sharing, like, information and communication that helped us build, like I gained a lot more perspective by, listening to you, hearing your journey and stuff like that. And also, like, bro, we really be out here working out. Like, and then we really be drinking the water. We really be, like, making strong strides towards the healthy, eating, more cleaner eating, and everybody's gonna mess up and treat yourself. Mm-hmm. Don't punish yourself. The goal for us is just the shift in perspective and how we're trying to move. Like, God willing, I want to live to 100.
Come on now.
I want quality.
Big difference.
Quality. Big difference. God, and let your will be done. But if Devontae's will is gonna be done, it's gonna be that centurion, that century mark.
Yeah.
But even with my blood pressure being high the other day, like, I had, like, that hazy feeling, right? And I was and being stubborn, I didn't even want to call the nurse line for the VA. And my my lady at the time, she told me to call them, and I was like, you know what? After a while, I said, you know what? I do. Mm-hmm. I hit them up, and I ended up getting clarity on the circumstances surrounding it. So they told me when to take my medicine again. They also told me if my blood pressure is consistently over 145 over 80 or and above for consecutive days, then I need to reach out. Mm-hmm. They said if it's ever elevated to like 150 or it just elevated in general and I'm feeling lightheaded or blurred vision, you need to get to a hospital and a doctor. Mm-hmm. So I want to just share that with you all to look at some of the, like the American Heart Association, look at some of these, websites and organizations and look over the criteria and get empowered with the information yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Look it up and I'll get that personal clarity. Because, like I said, it was shocking to me because a day before my blood pressure ended up spiking, like at the peaking at 160 over 100, I ran 6 miles.
Crazy.
Felt good. Mm-hmm. Actually, my ankle was kind of toe up, but I was geeked up like that. Like,
look, heart was good though. Heart was good.
Heart, like, and everything, breathing good. My pulse is always below 160 at rest. So I'm like, bro, I gotta have good cardio, like vascular health. And it's like,
I be thinking that too.
But there's, it's something else out there. And the clarity of this is like, okay, I've made all these adjustments. It's normally just my top number, my systolic number that's higher. So I was like, okay, well, this just means I have an opportunity to grow more. I could find some more information. I may need to get some more sleep. I may need to, dial back on the rest. It may just be the stress of the change of graduating, job hunting, and all this other stuff. So to put that in personal perspective, it gives me clarity, which curves my anxiety and worry, which also adds to your blood pressure and your health.
It does, and trying to get clarity. I think you should be seeking it often, especially when it comes to your health, because at the end of the day, like, if you don't make health a priority now, it's gonna become a priority at some time. Like, ain't nothing else gonna matter if like your health take a turn. So yeah, getting that priority, and that's why I'm urging like anybody that's listening into this, if you haven't been checked on, if you don't know your numbers, like, go check your numbers. And just speaking from my perspective, and talking to Black people, but talking to Black men especially, like, stop being stubborn, stop thinking that you're invincible, because I used to be somewhat of that mindset, and go get checked on. You may find out something new about yourself. And he was talking about how, he felt that hazy feeling or whatever when his blood pressure was high. Typically, blood pressure don't kick off no symptoms. They call it the silent killer for a reason. So, don't sit there and let it be a mystery why something crazy happened to you. Like, prime example, 2 years ago, my family and I, we just suffered a terrible tragedy. We lost my only uncle that's on my mother's side, like my mother's brother. And his profile was kind of similar to mine. He did 20 years in the military. He retired probably about 5 or 6 years ago. He was at home, like, helping my grandma, his mom at the time or whatever. And, super active. He was outside always doing something, real country boy. And literally just one day out the blue, they called me. They was like, yeah, he just passed away in his sleep. And man, when you talk about a shock, he wasn't even 50 yet. I think my uncle may have been about 46 or 47 at his time of passing away. And then, come to find out at the end, he went into cardiac arrest. I'm pretty sure he was dealing with high blood pressure. I don't know if that was the cause, but like I said, don't think, just because you are living this lifestyle or you are, indulging in the diet and exercising that, everything is all perfect. Like, I'm urging you to go get checked on, go get a blood pressure check at least. They free. Go to your local pharmacy. They free. You ain't even got to go to no doctor's office. Stick your arm in the cuff like we used to when we was little kids and let it blow up on your arm. Like, go check your numbers out and go see about yourself. Because like I said, as Black people, we're already at a higher health disparity than other races. And, and just talk about the choices that you make too. So I'm not saying cut out all the things that you love, but moderation is important, and sustainability is also important when you're talking about health and wellness too. We come on here and we talk about, all the lifting and everything that we're doing, biceps and chest and everything. That's cool. But what about your heart health? Like, what type of cardio are you doing? Like, that's one of those things that's going to matter long term. I think we talk about the growth in fitness a lot. It used to be where I wanted to be the biggest and strongest. Now I'm like you. What that quality of life going to be like when I get to 100 years old? Like, am I going to be helped up by the hands of someone else? Am I going to be hooked up to some type of machine? Or, can I move around freely like I am now? Like, that's what's going to matter long term. You could live a long time, but if your quality sucks, what's the use, right?
Facts. The importance of a mantra is it gave me clarity on who I am. And it didn't start off like nice, like as I was developing it, it was a developmental thing. And I'm actually gonna be revamping it because, as you grow, like things change. Time is moving, you must move with it. So, just because it's adjusting doesn't mean that I'm not still in an alignment with who I am at my core. So the importance of the mantra is it allowed me to think about, okay, well, what am I first, right? So I'm a man. So then how do I define a man? And then how does my community define a man? And then how does society as a whole define a man? And by understanding these things, I can relate myself in these domains. And not to say I'm gonna be a chameleon, because I will always default to my definition of it, because I ain't got to fool with somebody that don't agree with that. And that doesn't mean that we got to be at odds or enemies. It just means like, hey, God might bless you a different way. But this one right here, in principles, it has led me to so much more, which is being able to take on more, build stamina, grow into who I want to be as a person.